She is dancing at a party where you are not dancing, which is the first difference between you, and she notices it the way people from her culture notice not dancing at a party with music as a situation requiring intervention. She comes over. She does not ask if you want to dance because the question implies that not dancing is a legitimate answer and she does not believe it is. She tells you to dance. You tell her you cannot dance. She says everyone can dance in the specific tone of a person delivering a fact rather than an opinion, and she takes your hand, and in the next 15 minutes, you learn more about your own body's relationship to rhythm than you have learned in all the preceding years of your life. You can dance. You are bad at it, but the badness is correctable, and she is correcting it in real time with a patience and a confidence that comes from growing up in a culture where dancing is not a skill you develop. It is a thing you do, like talking, like eating, like expressing what you feel, because in her world, feeling things and expressing them are not separate activities connected by an optional bridge of social performance. They are the same thing. She is from, and here, the specific country matters enormously, which you will learn quickly and thoroughly, not Latin America in the aggregate, not some generalized Latina identity that collapses the differences between Colombia and Mexico and Venezuela and Puerto Rico and all the others into a single category. She is from somewhere specific with a specific culture and specific food, and a specific history and specific slang, and a specific way of making arepas or tamales or tostoons that is not the same as the way anyone else makes them. And she will explain this to you, and you will be expected to understand and remember, and you will, because the things she cares about become things you care about. Which is the mechanism of love. You get her number at the party. She texts back within 4 minutes, which is different from the texting rhythms you are used to, where the gap between messages carries information about interest and investment and the management of expectation. There is no gap management here. She texts back when she has a response because she has a response, and there is no reason to wait. You recalibrate. You text back faster. This turns out to be better. The early weeks are an education in intensity. Not intensity as pressure, intensity as presence. The specific quality of being with someone who is entirely there, who brings everything to every interaction, who does not save portions of herself for later or hold back energy in case it runs out. She texts back immediately and expects the same not as a demand, but as a natural consequence of being interested. If you are interested, you respond, and the response time is the information. She has opinions about where you go for dinner and expresses them in real time without the elaborate performance of not minding that you have been trained in. The I don't mind, what do you think ritual of couples who have learned to manage rather than communicate? She minds, she has a preference. The preference is expressed. This is faster and everyone gets what they want. She calls her mother every day, sometimes twice. The calls are in Spanish and last between 30 and 60 minutes and cover, as far as you can determine from context in the fragments of Spanish you are acquiring, everything. Her day, your relationship, what she ate, what you ate, what her mother thinks about what you both ate, family news, opinions about the family news, plans, opinions about the plans. Her mother is the gravitational center of her family, and these daily calls are the maintenance of that gravitational relationship, the ongoing communication that keeps the family's orbit stable. You come from a family where the weekly call is considered attentive and the content is functional, updates, logistics, the exchange of necessary information. You are watching a different relationship with family, and it is making you think about your own. Her grandmother's kitchen is the spiritual experience of your adult life. You go there for the first time on a Sunday, not a special Sunday, not an occasion, just a Sunday, which in this family is itself an occasion. Because Sunday is for food and family, and these two things together are not casual, but ceremonial. Even when they are presented as casual, her grandmother has been cooking since early morning. The kitchen smells of things that your nose is registering as important before your brain has caught up with the specific identification. She seats you at the table and begins bringing food. You eat things you cannot name in languages you do not speak. You eat things made from ingredients that were grown in a garden behind the house, and prepared in ways that have been passed through generations without being written down, existing instead in hands and memory, and the specific muscle knowledge of a woman who learned by watching and doing. You eat until you cannot eat, and then you eat the thing she brings after. because refusing it is not a thing you do in this kitchen. And you discover that the stomach has reserves you did not know about when the food is this good. Her grandmother does not speak English. She speaks to you in Spanish slowly, watching your face for comprehension. You understand about 40%. You respond in the 40%'s worth of Spanish you have, supplemented by gesture and expression. She finds this satisfactory. She likes you. You can tell this not from anything she says, but from what she puts in front of you, the extra portion, the specific dish that she brings out when she wants to show approval. Her food is her language of affection, and you are receiving it fluently, even if you cannot yet speak the other one. The family introduction proper, the event that is not the grandmother's kitchen, but the full family assembly, happens at her mother's house on a Sunday that you were told would be a small lunch. You arrive to find 30 people, 3 generations. A table that has been extended through 2 rooms and possibly into a third if you follow it far enough. The food has been cooking since the previous day. The 30 people arrive over the course of an hour, each arrival accompanied by embraces and greetings that are full and genuine and take time. Because in this family greeting, someone is not a formality that precedes the real interaction. It is the real interaction, the moment of contact that says, "I see you. I am glad you are here." You are introduced to everyone. The names move past you at a speed and volume that your memory cannot fully process, and you know within the first 10 minutes that you are going to be returning to this family for years. And the names will come eventually, and the thing that matters right now is not the names, but the quality of your attention, the degree to which you are present and genuine and willing. Her aunts ask you questions while serving you food, a simultaneous approach that means your mouth is always either eating or answering. You eat a great deal, you answer honestly. Both activities go well. Her mother is watching. Not obviously, she is hosting, she is moving through the room, she is directing the flow of food and conversation with the practiced ease of a woman who has been running this operation for decades. But she is watching, and you know it, and you understand that her assessment is the one that matters most in this room, and you conduct yourself accordingly, not performing, but presenting your actual self, which is the only version that will hold up over time anyway. Her father says very little. He shakes your hand when you arrive and asks you 2 questions over the course of the afternoon, and that is the extent of your direct exchange. She tells you afterward that this is normal, that her father does not talk much with people he does not know yet, and that the 2 questions he asked were the 2 questions he asks of everyone he is assessing, and that the fact he asked them means you are being assessed and not dismissed. You ask what the right answers were. You. She says she does not know that only her father knows, but that you are still here and have been invited to come back next Sunday, which means you passed. The passion. You need to talk about the passion. You come from a culture, or a family, or both, where emotions are present but managed, where the feeling and its expression have a buffer between them, a processing stage where the raw feeling is translated into an appropriate version of itself for social presentation. You've been doing this your whole life without knowing it was a choice rather than a fact. She does not do this. The feeling and its expression are the same thing, separated by no buffer, and the result is that you always know where you are with her, which is both wonderful and occasionally requires cardiovascular adjustment. When she is happy, the happiness is in the room. When she is frustrated, the frustration is in the room. When she loves you, and she does completely, the love is in the room, stated and demonstrated and present in the food she makes, in the way she holds your hand in public, in the 45-minute call to her mother where you are discussed. You know, because afterward her mother looks at you differently. The love is not implied. It is expressed in multiple languages continuously. The first serious disagreement is genuinely startling to your nervous system. Not because it is cruel, it is not, there is no cruelty in it, but because the emotional temperature climbs to a level that your previous relationship experience has taught you to associate with situations of serious damage, and the climb happens quickly, and the volume is present, and her hands are moving with the expressiveness of someone for whom the body is part of the conversation. You discover in this moment that your instinct is to manage, to de-escalate, to find the lower temperature and stay there. Her instinct is to resolve, to say everything, to put it all in the room, to deal with the actual thing rather than the managed version of it. You get through it. On the other side, you feel oddly closer, as if the thing you were both feeling was real and the real thing was addressed, and the addressing of it has made the connection between you cleaner. She asks if you are okay. You say you are. She says good because I was not that upset, which by her scale is true, and by your scale is a recalibration you are still working on. The jealousy, when it appears, is also direct. She does not do atmospheric jealousy, the cold shoulder, the pointed silence, the withholding of information that makes you work to understand what has changed. She tells you. She tells you what she saw, or what she heard, or what she interpreted, and what she felt about it in clear language, and she wants to know what you have to say. This is uncomfortable and then liberating in the way that directness is always uncomfortable before it is liberating, the discomfort being the specific discomfort of being asked to be as honest as the person across from you is being. You are honest. The honesty is received. The situation is resolved. No atmosphere, no inference, no carrying it forward. Resolved and done. Her mother's opinions about your life are delivered consistently and with complete love and zero apology. She has thoughts about your apartment. It is too small, and also your kitchen has inadequate equipment, and also the light in the bedroom is wrong. She has thoughts about what you eat, which she addresses by feeding you differently whenever you visit, which is frequently. She has thoughts about your work schedule and when you should stop working, and she is not wrong about the when, which makes the opinion easier to receive. Early in the relationship, you receive these opinions as interference. You make a decision, a conscious decision, because you can see both ways it could go. To receive them as care instead. Everything gets better when you make this decision. The opinions do not decrease, but your relationship with them transforms, and the transformation is the thing that determines the quality of the years that follow. You learn Spanish. You learn it badly, and then less badly, and then in a way that allows you to participate in the Sunday lunches beyond nodding and smiling and eating, which means you can follow the stories and contribute to the debates and understand the jokes and make one occasionally. A joke in Spanish with an accent that her family finds charming and her grandmother finds inexplicably hilarious. The day her grandmother laughs at a joke you made in Spanish, genuinely laughs, not the polite laughter of someone being kind to someone learning, is one of the proudest moments of your adult life. You call your own mother afterward to tell her. The call lasts longer than usual. You've been calling more often. You consult her mother before the proposal. This was her grandmother's suggestion, communicated through your partner's translation on a Sunday when the grandmother was watching you with the expression you have learned to read as she is deciding something. Her mother cries when you ask. You have not yet explained the question you said we is. You have said you would like to speak with her about something important, and already she is crying, because she is a person for whom love is fully felt and immediately expressed. And the anticipation of something beautiful is itself beautiful and worth crying about. You ask. She gives you her blessing. She hugs you for a long time. She tells you something in Spanish that you understand about 80% of, enough to know that it is something about her daughter and about the kind of man she needs, and about you being that man. And the 20% you miss does not change what the 80% means. The proposal itself, she receives the way she receives everything she loves, completely, immediately, with the full expression of what she feels. There is no managed response, no performance of the appropriate reaction. She cries. She says yes before you have finished asking. She calls her mother within 3 minutes from the location of the proposal while you are still there, and you listen to the call in your 80% Spanish and you get it all. The wedding. 300 people. The music begins at the ceremony. Live, because recorded music is for situations when live music is unavailable and does not stop until the following morning. You dance. You have had lessons under her supervision. Lessons that were conducted with the patience of a person who believes in your potential and the honesty of a person who will not tell you are good until you are good. And by the wedding, you are good enough that her family cheers and her grandmother watches from her chair with the expression you know means maximum approval. Years later. Sunday at her mother's house. The table is extended through 2 rooms. The food has been cooking since yesterday. The 30 people who were strangers at the first lunch are now the texture of your life. The aunts whose opinions you receive as care. The cousins whose children you have watched be born. Her father who now speaks to you at length about things he cares about. Having decided somewhere in year 2 that you are permanent and worth investing in, you are the loud one at your old friends' gatherings now. You bring food, real food, made from memory. Learned at the table of a grandmother who never used a recipe. You hug people when you arrive and when you leave. You call your mother more than you used to. You have opinions about music at parties. She did not change you. She expanded you into the version that was always possible, the version that was waiting for someone to offer it, abundance, and see what it did with the offering. The grandmother still laughs at your Spanish. You are still improving. The food has never gotten worse. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.